Hello YouTubers, RogueMonkeyJr here, and in today's video, we're going to talk about the latest PUBG patch. I know I don't make PUBG videos very often, but when there's a big patch like this, I do like to make a video on it and give my thoughts and read through the patch notes because, and this is probably one of the biggest updates we've gotten. There's a massive amount of stuff that's changed, such as weapon balance, item balancing, throwable balancing. There's just a lot of stuff that happened in this patch, and it's probably one of the biggest updates we've had since 1.0 went live at the end of last year. So without further ado, let's get stuck right into this. So the first thing is first, a lot of the weapons have been rebalanced. Now there's a chart that's going to be on screen right now. I'm not going to go through all of it, but generally speaking, pistols do more damage, 5.56 ARs do less damage. The SKS has been balanced to do less damage, the VSS a little bit more, the Mini 14 a little bit more. The shotguns, so the S686 and the S1897 do a little bit less damage, but the pellet spread is tighter. SMGs generally do more damage, and LMGs do more damage as well. Before we go any further, a link to the full patch notes will be in the description down below, as there is a lot of information to cover. I probably won't be going through all of it, probably only the most important points. So weapons, ARs, rebalanced ARs, so none is the objective best. So before, the meta was pretty much the M416 was the best assault rifle, hands down. Now that changed it a little bit. They've all been rebalanced recoil-wise and all this stuff, so every AR feels viable and there's not the best AR. So the power differential between each is now reduced, but each brings advantages to different situations. SMGs adjusted them to be more effective in short-range combat. Shotguns increased overall damage and effective range. Pistols increased the damage, as I said. Shotguns increased limb shots modifier. Shooting limbs now does more damage. The modifier is now 90%. So if you're shooting somebody in the leg, you're still gonna get 90% of the damage that you would get if you were shooting him in the chest. Reduced pellet spread by 25%. Shotgun chokes can now be attached to the sawed-off, which is interesting because that is a secondary weapon and it's gonna make it all that much more viable. SMGs increased limb shots modifier. It's now 120%. So that's even more than the 90% of the shotguns. You're doing 120% damage when you're shooting that person in the limbs, so it's making the SMGs a much more viable option. I was actually getting decent kills in the beginning of rounds, even using the Uzi. So it's something to be careful about, and people might be running SMGs as their secondaries more often. Slightly increased the damage of the SMGs, as I said. Decreased vertical recoil on all SMGs. Decreased recoil and scope sway when moving in ADS. Increased ADS transition speed. ARs increased the headshots modifier. It's now 235%, so aim for the head. Slightly decreased the damage. I talked about that. Increased reload time by 30% for the SCAR L, M16, and M416. Increased reload time by 10% for the a.k.a. Increased vertical and horizontal recoil for all ARs except the a.k.a. The a.k.a. really didn't need a recoil increase. Decreased recoil recovery rate for all ARs. Restricted big scopes 8x and up for use with all ARs. So a couple of patches ago, you couldn't put the 8x on the M16 anymore. You could still put it on the M4, SCAR L, and a.k.a. That is done. You cannot put 8x on those weapons anymore. They want to balance them out a little bit more for medium range combat and really focus on having sniper rifles for long range engagements instead of having an AR which one size fits all, and added new recoil animations for all ARs. DMRs increased head, body, and limb shot modifier. These are now 235% head, 105% body, and 95% limbs. Decreased the damage of the SKS, slightly increased the damage of the VSS and Mini 14, increased vertical and horizontal recoil for all DMRs, decreased the recoil recovery rate for all DMRs, added new recoil animations for all DMRs. So that means you can't spam fire the DMRs as much anymore. You're going to have to wait between shots, and if you don't wait between shots, your accuracy is going to go down the drain. Other guns slightly increased the damage of the DP28 and M249, restricted big scopes 8x and up for use with LMGs, and reduced crossbow reloading time from 4 seconds to 3.5 seconds. Weapon sway has been adjusted for all weapons, slightly increased side-to-side movement, and sway is now more pronounced when holding your breath. Weapon sway when moving is now also reduced by the cheek pad attachment. Cheek pads now help you recover from weapon sway more quickly after moving. So giving a little love to the cheek pad. Throwables, frag grenades added new hit effects and animations. Previously, grenade damage was greatly dependent on fall damage from the grenade's knockback effect, rather than explosion. We've removed the grenade's knockback effect for player characters and have adjusted it so that only explosion damage is applied when you're struck by a grenade. So previously, if somebody threw a grenade at your feet, it didn't do all that much damage, but you had the knockback and, for example, fell off a cliff, then that would be the end of you, and it's not really the grenade that killed you, it's the knockback, which is kind of unfortunate, so that's been changed. It won't happen anymore. Weight changes, all throwables. Frag grenade increased from 12 to 18, Molotov decreased from 18 to 16, smoke grenade decreased from 16 to 14, and stun grenade decreased from 14 to 12. So all the grenades except the frag grenade have seen a decrease in overall weight, and the frag grenade has seen an increase, making it maybe a little bit more likely for people to use those other grenades. Character movement, we've slightly decreased the movement speed when holding sniper rifles, LMGs, and shotguns. Your equipped weapon affects both your sprinting speed and running normal movement speed. We've removed the first shot delay when your character is not sprinting, which is excellent, making everything feel a little bit more quick, and you can actually shoot your targets if you're not running. So, sprinting around corners and kind of like jumping and turning at the same time probably won't be as viable anymore, as opposed to a nice strategic move. Chambering a new round in certain weapons no longer limits you to walking speed while aiming down sights. The amount your camera shakes after being shot, aim punch, now depends on the amount of damage received. Other item balance. Level 3 helmets now only spawn in care packages, and one is guaranteed to be in every care package. This is massive. They want to make it so that the care packages are to be fought for and are a viable and important thing to do. They want to make it so that it's a good care package every time you get something good that you can only get in there. So having those level 3 helmets that protects you from one-shot headshots from sniper rifles is sometimes a game changer. So they're making it so that the care package are even better than they were before, and that they are even worth more fighting for. Both SR quick draw magazines and sniper rifle extended quick draw magazines now spawn only in care packages, so you'll only be able to find extended magazines for sniper rifles and DMRs across the world. We've reduced the spawn rate for AR extended quick draw magazines. DMRs now use AR attachments along with sniper rifle attachments, so very versatile now the DMRs. You can use, for example, an extended quick draw for as an assault rifle, you can now use it on the DMR. You can use a suppressor for an assault rifle on the DMR. So it's giving a little bit more of an importance to the DMR, that you can attach multiple attachments on there from different classes of weapons. Adrenaline syringes now spawn alongside normal loot in the game world. Although it's very rare, I've played probably like 10 games since the patch release, and I have not come across one adrenaline syringe, but I mean, it's good that they're out there. Adjusted the casting time of adrenaline syringe from 8 seconds to 6 seconds. Gameplay. Along with all the balance changes, we're introducing a new weapon, a new vehicle for Miramar, and a ton of new weapon attachments. So the new weapon added the SLR, also known as the FN FAL. I only found it once, and it was on military base, and it's an absolute beast. It does a lot of damage. Like, if you look back at the weapon chart, I'll pull it up here. It does 58 damage per shot, which is only outbeaten by the MK14, which does 61, and that's a care package drop. The runner-up for the SLR is the SKS with 53 damage, so it's an absolute, like, it hits like a truck, and it's really, really good. I really enjoyed it, and I hope I can find it a little bit more often than I did. So the SLR will be spawned alongside normal world loot. It's a DMR which uses 7.62 ammo and contains 10 bullets per magazine, 20 bullets when extended. The SLR is more powerful than the SKS but has more recoil. Recoil control is the key to using the SLR effectively. New vehicle. The Mirado is a classic muscle car, a fast 4-seat sedan that's limited to Miramar. It can be found around downtown areas and main city streets. Think of the Mirado as a complement to the other unique vehicles on Miramar. The van is extremely sturdy but slow and ineffective when taken off-road. The pickup is great for off-road travel, and the Mirado is the fastest way to blaze down a highway. Which also brings me on the subject of map selection. So you can now select the map that you want to play. If you select both maps, then you're going to have a chance to play Miramar or Erangel, but you can Limit it to Erangel only, which is what I'm currently doing. I haven't even played Miramar since it came out, since the map selection came out, and it's probably going to stay that way. I just don't like the flow of the map and the lack of cover, and when there is cover, there's just too much of it. For example, in the towns, there's too many buildings, and it's really slow paced and not really my type of game. Maybe they did add a little bit more cover to the map and little modifications here and there, but still I really prefer Erangel. And once Savage comes out, well, Codename Savage comes out, you'll be able to choose between the three. Sorry, I can't talk. New and updated attachments. So there's a bunch of new attachments that you can now find throughout the world. The Duck Bill, a new attachment for shotguns. It reduces the vertical pellet spread but increases horizontal pellet spread. Light grip, thumb grip, half grip, angle foregrip, vertical foregrip. Okay, so 4 of these are new, but they've all had a little bit of changes. You can see them in game when you pick it up. It says like plus vertical recoil control, plus weapon ADS, and minus weapon steadiness, for example. So they all have different strengths to them and different weaknesses, and some are best suited for DMRs, some are best suited for ARs. It'll be up to you to choose which one you prefer. And there's also 2 new scopes. This 3x scope, a nice little addition for that medium range combat, not only exclusive to the 2x and 4x anymore. You can find a 3x, which is a nice balance between both. And my new favorite scope, the 6x. This scope has a variable 3x and 6x magnification. It's discoverable as a rare world drop item. I really like the 6x because of the reticle on it. It's got a nice bright red dot in the middle, and it's got the crosshairs going down as a cross. And I really enjoy it. I use it with the Kar 98K, and it was absolutely wonderful. And also, you can now change the reticle style and color on the red dot, hollow sight, and 2x scope using the scope zeroing keys page up, page down by default. So there's a little animation. If you go into the link down in the description, you can see that. I didn't really mess around with it too much because I forgot. But it's a nice little thing to be able to change your reticle. Boat and swimming adjustments. Boats now sink when destroyed. We've made some adjustments to the way swimming works to reduce the effectiveness of hiding underwater. We've decreased the maximum submersible time from 35 seconds to 15 seconds, which is a lot. That's 20 seconds less you can spend underwater. And once you've run out of air, you'll now take 10 damage per second, up from 4 damage per second, which is massive. So you're going to die at a crazy speed if you're drowning in the water. And we've increased the delay for breath recovery time from 1 to 4 seconds. In other words, when you lift your head up out of the water, it'll now take 4 seconds before you begin to recover your breath, which is good because in certain situations, for example, the safe zone is in the military base, and there's still a parcel of the safe zone that's in the water. A lot of people will just sit in the water because you just have to pop out your head for 1 second every 35 seconds, then go back under, and you're good to go, and it's pretty difficult to shoot people underwater. There's also been some UI changes to the main menu. You can see all that when you load the game. The rest is settings, world, which is improvements to Miramar, and bug fixes. I won't go through all of them. The video is already long enough as it is because there was a lot of stuff to talk about. So if you want to read the entire patch notes, as I said, link in the description down below. And while you're down there, let me know what you enjoy so far about the patch. I really like the FN FAL, also known as the SLR, and all of the new attachments, especially the 6x scope and the exclusivity of the level 3 helmet in the crates. And while you're down there, be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I release Battlefield and first-person shooter-related videos pretty much every day. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.